Okay. Um, it's been a while. It's been a very long time since I've recorded pretty much anything. Um, I mean, my channel hasn't been active, so I'm not surprised that there's pretty much no people in there. But my reasoning is that, well,
You can type first.
sorry about that. My reasoning is that I have a full-time college and I have a full-time job, so I can't really record a lot of stuff. Plus, I absolutely suck at editing. So, you know. Uh, the reason I'm making this video is ideally I want to talk about a movie I saw. I'm pretty sure a lot of people have seen it so far. But before, talking about that, I wanted to just acknowledge the fact that, you know, I wish I could do full-time YouTubing, but like I said, editing is not for me. I could learn it. I probably will at some point, but I still don't think I would be able to full-time stream heavy gaming stuff. Plus, I feel like it's a little irrelevant, but I don't know. I just don't think that my opinion would like blow up, so to speak, and get like a lot of views. But I did want to start my video in almost middle of 2026 when the last time I recorded was God knows when. Like I said about the movie I saw, which is in the screen, hopefully. The movie is called Obsession. I'm sure you've heard of it. If not, big spoilers. I'm not going to put the videos from the movie because I have no idea how to do that. Two, copy strikes. YouTube is very strict with that stuff, so I wouldn't want that. I don't even know if this thing would give me a copy strike or not, so I don't think so. Hopefully not. But just in case, and yes, I've literally Googled it. Like if you can see this in your screen, I've literally Googled this poster. That's how bad I am in editing. Like that's what I genuinely mean when I say that I'm bad at like this stuff. Like I genuinely am. Anyways, moving back to what my opinion is not going to be revolutionary. I really liked this movie. I genuinely loved the thrill and the horror part of it, and the fact that unfortunately there are some people, I'll go in a little bit of a tangent, but a lot of people are like, oh, I would fix her or him or would, or those silly things. But granted, some of them, if not most of them, are just jokes. But people don't realize that there are a lot of like, not like a lot, but like substantial amount of people that go through what this movie has shown. Not in that way, obviously, not in like a way that someone wishes for that, or like that someone magically just transforms into that. Though obviously not. But there are people with these issues that arguably are generally speaking mental issues. I mean, there are some arguments about that, but you know, um, I don't know why it's this long. I don't think people are going to listen to this, but whatever. I just want to like throw my opinion out there because I watched it like a couple minutes ago, so obviously legally. I watched it obviously legally, so yeah. Um, I feel like I want to talk about first about the experience of watching it the first time because I've watched it the second time a couple minutes ago, but I've watched it the first time and I was pleasantly surprised. I was surprised with the cinematography of it, of the fact that this eerie feeling I got of like, holy moly, like wow, basically. Um, the lighting, the shadowing, the actors were absolutely amazing. So like just 10 out of 10, honestly. Like the acting was really good. However, plot wise, obviously, I'm not a movie director. I'm not even a critic. If you like listen to those like people that have like millions of subscribers that like either love something or hate something, like I'm not that kind of a person. I have like what 3 subscribers, I think. So, not generally just a normal guy, but I generally tend to watch something for the first time just to vibe with it, so to speak. But this movie was really good. But plot wise, I feel like I'll get back to like talking about the movie itself, but I feel like in the plot, spoilers alert again, the fact that Bear, and this is coming from someone, I, I don't want to say this like sounding too cliche in a sense, or well, basically when I came to America 3 years ago, I got myself a psychologist. I don't go to her anymore because she's amazing, but I just don't feel like I need a psychologist right now. But basically, long story short, she told me I need to have a session with a psychiatrist, which I did. And the psychiatrist told me that I have ADHD, which I completely, fully agree with. I can see the ADHD part of me. You probably will see this in the recording as well. But she also said that I have autism and anxiety. Anxiety, I could arguably see that, maybe. I don't see why there should be a medication for that, but I'm not gonna argue with a professional. But the autism part, I get that it's a huge spectrum, but I genuinely still don't see that in myself. But like I said, I'm not gonna argue with that. Why did I like introduce this? I wanted to introduce this in a sense that I understand Bear's anxiety and insecurity of not being able to say what he wants to say, because there probably is and will be people, or were people that first like watched it the first time when Bear was like was not able to tell his feelings, that just tell her you like her, man. It's like it doesn't work that way a lot of times, like, because people generally tend to be afraid of rejection. people generally do not like to be said no. And especially with Bear, lore wise, if we go, like, I'm not too familiar with the lore in a sense that I haven't, like, researched hours and hours into this movie, but just as an avid watcher, like, lore wise, as far as I understand, he really likes her. Like, he wanted her to be his, basically, goal, his relationship, his girlfriend. Like he wanted her in a sense. So one would be like, hey, well, why didn't he just say that? But, like, you don't understand that if she rejected him, which pretty much she probably would, not only I feel like he would still not give up on it, he would, like, quote unquote annoy her about it, but I feel like she would just get aggressive with it. Like, as even though it seems like they're good friends, I feel like she would just get aggressive and be like, "Ew, what are you doing, dude? Like, leave me alone." In that sense, you know. That being said, the approach he took, ignoring the wishing part, right? Before the wishing part, right? The scene opens with him, quote unquote, role playing, confessing his feelings to what's supposed to be Nikki, but it's just a waitress. But so he's pouring his heart out, and he's like, "Oh my god, it's so cringe." And his friend is in there. He's like, "Yeah, it's cringe." But the girl that he was, like, role playing with, she gave him a decent idea. She was just like, "Why don't, like, I liked it. Why don't you just buy flowers for her or something?" And his friend is like, "Oh no, don't do that. She's gonna hate that." And it's like, I mean, they know each other, but, like, why not try? I like I said before, I know, pretty much contradicting myself saying that, because I just said that he doesn't want to get rejected, but I feel like it's worse to just be like, "Oh hey, I like you," rather than, buying her favorite flower, or tea or coffee or whatever she likes, right? Which I assume he knows what she likes, and be like, "Hey, why don't why don't we just, sit down, talk about it, and be like, hey man, I really like you." Not in that way, but, like, again, that being said, I do understand that he's anxious, he's insecure, he probably knows that most likely she will reject him, so he does not want to be rejected. But again, that just, spitting it out. That being said, though, the scene where, when he drops her off, and then he mentions the freaky Nikki incident, I didn't really like that. And the fact that his friend suggested it, to, like, reminisce about that part, to mention that part, to be like, "Oh, just tell her that, you like, that you remember you were freaky Nikki," or something like that. It's like, why? No, why would she wouldn't like that. Even Bear himself admitted that she would not like that, and she didn't like that. Like, why would you bring up something that she will not like? That's not gonna make her like you. Like, that part was a little weird. Now, speaking of the wishing whatever thing, it's obviously a monkey paw situation. What monkey's paw, I'm not sure how to say that, like, specifically, but what monkey's paw mean is basically when you wish something, there is a negative side effect of it. So you can wish for $1 billion, and you'll have those $1 billion, but you'll die in, like, one day or something. Like, the monkey's paw always has some kind of negative outcome on it. Like, there's some kind of trick, there's some kind of you know something that will mess your wish. That's why, for example, a lot of the times canonically, genie movies, when they gave you 3 wishes, most of these 3 wishes came with like those kind of monkey pose situation where you could wish for something, it would happen, but then something bad would happen together with that wish. And which is why mostly within some exceptions, but mostly a lot of genie movies, when you wish for love, they don't usually do that. They're like, oh, I can't make someone fall in love with you and blah blah blah, which makes sense. It's an emotion. You can't really make someone like you unless you somehow drug them or hypnotize them or something like that. Which comes this movie where Bear, I feel like, obviously he did this emotionally. He made the wish while being emotional, while being stressed, while being anxious, while being upset. He was like, I wish Nikki would love me more than anyone else in the world or something like that. Which is like, I obviously understand that he didn't read the fine print of the wishing label thing. And like I said, he did it emotionally. However, why not just wish for them to love each other, like, together? Why not wish to, you know, date each other, be happy together, or something like that? It was very, the wish was very one directional, like towards Nikki, that Nikki needs to be basically obsessed with me. Not, oh, I wish Nikki and I were together, or I wish Nikki and I liked each other, or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was very one directional of like, oh, I want Nikki to love me. And he didn't even word it like that. He said he wants her to love me more than anyone else in the world. Basically, for him to be Nikki's air or water, basically, in that sense, to be addicted on him, which obviously is not healthy. Maybe you could argue that he just didn't believe this thing would work. He just, like, randomly, emotionally was like, fuck it, why not? Maybe, possibly, but I would still argue that even if it didn't work, even if it was a fluke, risking that kind of a wish is a little unwise. Like, if I was in his position, which I'll tell you my story. I've had this kind of experience, but not that bad, but very close to it. Well, not very, but like quite similar to this situation. But I'll get into it. But if I was in his situation, right? If I even if I was emotional, even if I was upset, I would not wish for the person I like to like me more than anything in the entire universe. Even if I knew this thing, this magic voodoo whatever thing is not gonna work, even if I believe that it's just a fake, right? Which I probably would. Even if I bought it, I'd be like, it's just child's play, or just a toy. I would still not mess with it, I would still not be like, I'd rather not, I'd rather play it safe. You feel me? Like, I'd just be like, I don't want to wish something too extreme, right? So, like, going on the tangent, right? I mean, lore wise, I'm not sure what they were trying. Like, this is what was confusing to me, right? And if anyone watches this, which I doubt, you can leave a comment on this, because I wasn't sure about this part. The fact that when it went too far, right? When he called the customer service line of the wishing thing or whatever, or he called the shop, or whoever he called, right? you could hear Nikki, screaming, crying, and the dude was like, Nikki's here with me, right? And then like in the scenes, we've seen Nikki snap out of it, so to speak, and be like, holy shit, what's happening, right? So I didn't get that part. Obviously, it's not like just a demon possessing Nikki or whatever magic voodoo stuff of like, this is not her. Obviously, it was her or her copy or her alternative version or whatever. But what I didn't understand, the like director trying to say, is that, is this a copy of Nikki that somehow consciously Nikki knows what she's doing, but like, she's fighting it from the inside, but she knows what she's doing? Or is original OG Nikki somewhere tied up, needs help, and this is like an alternative version of Nikki, but they somehow share like a neural link, or like share the same memories, and that's how she knows what's happening? Or like that's what I'm confused about. Like, is this the original Nikki that somehow got chemically rewritten in her brain to be obsessed with Bear, and then like the normal Nikki, so to speak, the quote unquote normal Nikki, is still in that brain trying to fight her way out of this state? Or is this original Nikki just not there? She's just somehow neurologically trying to connect back. Like, is she just a lost soul somewhere? Is she a physical body tied up somewhere? Like that's what I was confused about. Like, what's the lore here? What are we doing, basically? Like I said, actors absolutely amazing. And you could just dive into the situation and like feel for the characters. Like Bear, on his behalf, he was I believe Michael Johnston. Yes. His portraying of anxiety, of like, what the hell is happening here, and all that stuff, like it was really good. It was really, really good. And then the actress playing Nikki, I'm gonna pronounce this extremely incorrectly, so I do apologize for this. In the Navarrete, I think. Again, I genuinely, I apologize. I don't know how to pronounce names. I suck. But yeah, her playing the part of like creepy, obsessed yandere type of girl, like, honestly, really, really, really good. That being said, like like I said, that's the part just threw me out. Being like, so what's the actual, what's happening here? And then what also, I didn't really, I don't want to say I didn't like the part, at that part, but I didn't really understand, is that all their, friends, they basically share friends. Their friends know each other, and somewhat know each other, except for Bear's best friend, right? Except for him, basically everyone else was kind of okay with it, in a sense. Like, they were freaked out, obviously. They were like, dude, what's going on? But they didn't really help, in a sense. They were like, just like, oh, that's just normal Tuesday for us. Which was like, what? It's like, no. And it's like I don't like no. That's not how this works. If you see your friend like not being herself, you want to check in on that. You want to, call authorities. I don't know, like to do anything, not just ignore it, not just be like, oh, whatever it is. So it's a little freaky, but it happens. Especially the part where they went to a pub or whatever, and she like freaked out and started stabbing her like face. All that happened was after that was that she like people just got freaked out and that's it. Like if I was in that situation, which God forbid I ever do, like it's like I would call 911 probably 15 times and be like, I don't know what the hell is happening, but you gotta be here like yesterday. You know what I'm saying? Like this girl needs to be in psychiatry hospital. Like she needs to be tied up, thrown into the mental institution, and be evaluated on what the hell is going on with her. And then the fact that Bear's best friend slowly started realizing what's happening, but never really did anything, in a sense that he just like was like, oh yeah, she is weird, but like she actually lied about this, she actually like lied about that. And the bear said, oh, she did this, she did that, and he was like, oh, like say she took out my dead cat from like trash and like did whatever. I'm not gonna describe for YouTube reasons. And his friend that knows Nikki, right? Like he knows her. He's like, oh, that's weird. She never did that before. And it's like, what? It's like it's like you have three friends, right? And you're very close with each other, and one of your friends calls that your other friend, like your third friend, just like, I don't know, let's say burnt this second friend's house down for no reason at all, and all your reaction is, oh well, she never did that before, that's weird. It's like, no, that's not how you react. No, that's not. No, no, that's not how you do it. Like you're curious, you call the authorities, you go over there, you check in. And especially the late stages of transformation of Nikki, again, really well done and spot on for actress, and just mwah, chef's kiss. But the fact that, like, the windows got closed, the door was like taped up, and blah 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 blah. But like that slow progression of her getting crazier and crazier, really well done. However, like I said, the fact that his best bear's friend generally knew what's going on, not like all of it, but like basically knew that something's weird going on at the very least, and didn't call anyone, didn't tell anyone, didn't check in himself till like basically the last scene, so to speak. Well, the last like basically towards the ending of the movie, he like never came to the house. I know Bear said no, it's everything is okay, I can handle it, and Bear a lot of the times dismissed him. But even if my friend dismissed me, but I knew something's fishy going on, that he might not be safe, something's weird going on, I would go there. I'm not saying I would solve all of the problems. Obviously, probably not. I mean, I'm not even a physical guy. Like, I don't really like fighting and anything like that. But at the very least, I would go there. I would be like, I want to see what the hell is going on in my mind. So I would visit him. I would go to his house. I would see the ducked up the doors and all that stuff, and I'd be like, dude, you need to move ASAP. You need to move like yesterday, basically. Like, what are you doing? That being said, I don't know. Like, the fact that love is basically a chemical reaction in your brain that is very similar to what happens to you when you have OCD. You can research about it. I'm not gonna go too deep about it because I'm not like the best person to talk about it. But love, generally, love can drive you crazy. Love can make you do crazy things. But like I said, I get that this is a so to speak short movie. I mean, I know it's not short, but like it's not like a full on actual like whole shtick. Like it's a very like straightforward movie. Like in the beginning, this happens, in the middle, this happens, and in the end. I like that in the end she does like snap out of it and like she just realizes what the hell has been going on. I like that. I didn't really expect that, so I really like that. I thought she's gonna kill him, but nope. That being said, like I said, the fact that their friends were basically non-existent in the whole thing, like, apart from being just freaked out and be like, "Whoa, that's crazy! Oh, whoa, that's weird!" Like, that's not how friends are. I don't really have friends, but like, if I was, like I say, if I was in that situation, I'd check in. I'd drive there and be like, "Hey, man, what the hell is going on?" If I saw Nikki, soiling herself or like not showering or like stuff like that, yeah, like I said, I'd call authorities. I'd be like, "Hey, I feel like she needs to be thrown into psychiatrist ward. Like, where? I don't know what the hell you're doing, but this is not it. It's not helping, you know." So the situation I had was similar in a sense that I won't go into like super personal details for obvious reasons, but a girl that I dated, we we broke up fairly diplomatically in a sense that there was no drama, there was nothing like that. I was fairly young. It was like years and years ago. But we didn't really talk that much after that. But many years later, and I mean many years later, she started physically being in places where I am. Like pretty much always, I would always see her where I am. And not only that, when I flew away to study in another country, she went to that country too. I was very lucky that it was in the same city, so coincidentally it happened. So she wanted to meet constantly, but I refused. But then, like I said, when I came back to my original country of birth, she constantly appeared wherever I was. Even though I moved out from like an old house to a new house, when I dated her, we dated when I was in my old house, but we moved out to a new house, but somehow she was in there, like in that like apartment complex, so to speak, like in that address, like constantly. So obviously, I did talk to her. I mean, her whole problem was that she always refuses whatever happens. Like she's like, "No, what are you talking about? No, that never happened." But anyways, I sorted it out. I'm glad I sorted it out. But what I'm trying to say is that obviously this is not that case. This is a case of psychosis of the person being literally so obsessed they would prefer you over any food, any water, air, whatever. That's just a mental disability at that point. But even if Bear was freaked out, which fair enough, I'd be shitting bricks. I'd be like, I would not be able to sleep. I'm not gonna lie. I would not be able to sleep near Nikki at all. And I know he had that kind of trouble too sometimes, but I would not be able to sleep at all near that kind of a person. Like if I don't feel safe, I would not be able to sleep near someone. Like that's it. End of the story. Like unless there's a heavy door separating us or I'm armed, which like I said, I'm not a violent person, so I probably won't be armed. But like, if I don't feel safe near you, I'm not gonna go sleep near you because I'd just be very anxious that something is gonna happen. Because obviously, when we sleep, we're the most vulnerable, as almost every animal is. And obviously, we are, primates, so to speak. We are animals, so we are very, very vulnerable when we sleep. So yeah, I would not do that. I would not be able to sleep near her. I would be scared that I wouldn't be scared necessarily of the fact that she would like lock me out. She would like lock the doors or whatever, right? I mean, obviously that's a fair reason to be scared that your freedom is being limited. But I would be more scared that she would chop my arm off and eat it, or something like that crazy, like because like at that point the person is just not themselves. And then again, obviously lore wise, you can't cancel your wish unless one of you dies. Sure, fair enough. And he did try to do try to not exist. YouTube is gonna like not like this video, but anyways, like obviously that topic is very heavy, and if I knew that this is the only way to fix and this situation, would I be able to harm either of us? I don't know. I doubt that. It really depends. Again, I can feel Bear because I'm a very anxious person. I have very bad anxiety. I get stressed. I get confused. I get lost. I'm basically like a deer that stares into the headlights that are about to hit the deer. Like I panic a lot. I get stuck if the situation is really bad. So in that kind of a situation, I would feel like sure the authorities would not believe me, that the authorities would brush me off, but I feel like if I came into the police station like covered in sweat, pale, obviously, characteristics of anxiety, stress, whatever, and assuming this is not like a super small niche town of like where like they just genuinely don't care, assuming this is like in a normal somewhat of a city, I feel like they would answer that call. If I came in, looking like that and be like, guys, I need your help. Like, there's something wrong with like my partner or like whatever. I obviously wouldn't mention the wishing thing or anything like that. I'd just be like, she's having a psychosis periods. Like she just tries to like tie me up, or like she did this and that and this and that and whatever, like. And the fact that again, major spoiler alerts, Nikki killed Bear's other female friend that was into Bear, and Bear helped Nikki to bury the body. Like, I get that he doesn't really have much of an option. He can't really say no, because obviously I would be scared that if I say no, she's gonna murder me too. But I feel like, first of all, I would try to trick her, and secondly, even if I didn't try to trick her, even if I did help her bury the body, I would immediately go to authorities and be like, hey, go to this address. There's a fresh dead body in there. Just trust me on this. That's it. I know I would probably go to jail and all that stuff, but I would still do it. I'd be like, dude, and then obviously explain. Once I'm in the station, doesn't matter if I'm in a jail, if I'm in anywhere. Like if I'm protected and surrounded by armed people that are generally speaking going to protect themselves, if not me. If even Nikki would barge in with I don't know, an AR-15 or a chainsaw into the station, I'm pretty sure they would neutralize her way before she would get into near me. So like I'm saying like the worst case scenario, right? Like generally speaking, you're somewhat safe in a police station. Obviously, there are other things to consider. Not always police are the safest option, but I'm just saying, like generally speaking, any kind of ambulance, hospital, EMS, fire station, police station, even a public school, well, arguably not in America, but technically speaking, they would probably help you out. I'm just saying, like even a grown adult man, like like it's not a child, it's not a prank. Like you can genuinely see that they are stressed, and like they walk into your like station, whatever the station is, right? Like I said, EMS, police station, fire station, whatever it is, and they look like they've seen a ghost. Generally, I would listen to them and I would answer their call, and I would be like, all right, buddy, let's relax and let's do it. All right, fine, chill. So that aspect of the movie was a little like I said, I get it. It's suspense. It builds up on the freaky situation where like you did this consciously. I'm sure Bear knew after like relatively short time that this was because of the one wish thing. I mean, he did admit it by closer to the end of the movie, but like I said, I would just be like, I would reach out to any friend, anyone, family, anything, really, and be like, guys, like I don't feel safe. So I don't know. I don't know. Like I'm not saying it's a bad movie. No, I absolutely loved it. It's very like I legit felt it in my bones because I've had I wouldn't say a similar situation, but a very close situation to it. So I can relate. But that being said, I don't know. Like it did make my skin crawl. It did make me question my life decisions, and I was not able to sleep for 2 nights. But like it got to me. Like I rated highly. Like I'd rated 9 out of 10. But these kind of like I said, when you watch it for the second time, you do have questions. You do have reoccurring situation of like, well, why wouldn't you do this instead? Why wouldn't you do that instead? Like and it's fair enough. It's constructive criticism. So if anyone watches this, let me know what you think. And yeah, catch you 2 years later. No, I'm kidding. I'll try my best to record something. I don't know what, but something. So yeah.